The change sneaks in. There's no announcement, no crash, just a quiet shift. One day you're a kid, legs dangling, thinking about cartoons or snacks. The next, you're scanning the faces around you, trying to sense which version of home you've walked into. Maybe you're 6, maybe 8. You see the grown-up you count on unraveling, lost in a haze, quick to explode, or just so empty they barely exist in the room. It's not always loud. Sometimes it's the kind of silence that feels like a warning. And somewhere inside, without even knowing it, you make a silent promise. If I'm not the strong one, we might all fall apart. That's how childhood gets rewritten. Not by one big moment, but by 1,000 tiny ones where you start to hide your tears, bite back your needs, and try to keep everyone else steady. You become the mood reader, the peacekeeper, the one who smooths things over before anyone else notices there's a problem. And adults? They call you wise, dependable, an old soul. They don't see the cost. Nobody asks what it takes from you to be so grown up so soon. This is the invisible tax on kids forced to be adults before their time. And if you don't spot it, you'll grow up replaying the same survival tactics that once kept you safe, but now just leave you exhausted and alone. Let's break down what's really happening in your brain. When a kid has to manage the feelings of adults, psychologists call it role reversal or parentification. Suddenly, you're the one offering comfort, solving problems, patching up emotional wounds that aren't yours. This isn't just a tough childhood. It literally rewires your stress response. Instead of learning that home is a safe place, your body gets stuck in emergency mode. You become a living alarm system, always alert, always bracing for the next outburst or breakdown. You learn that being helpful is your ticket to safety. Your own needs? Too risky. Someone else's needs? Always urgent. So you start to disappear, not physically, but emotionally. In your place, a version of you shows up who gets everything right, never complains, and never asks for anything. The world sees someone responsible. Inside, there's a part of you quietly wondering, was I ever really protected? Fast forward. You're an adult. You're probably good at your job, maybe even the go-to person in your friend group. But there's a hollowness that follows you. You're great at supporting others, but when someone tries to support you, it feels suffocating. You say yes when you mean no. You push yourself until you're running on fumes because stopping feels dangerous. You might notice you reread texts, worried you upset someone. You replay conversations, prepping for every possible reaction. Even at home, your body won't fully relax. Part of you is always waiting for something to go wrong. In relationships, you might be drawn to people who need rescuing. You apologize for things that aren't your fault. Loud voices, even happy ones, make you flinch. Compliments feel suspicious, like you'll have to pay them back. Letting someone in feels risky, like you're handing over a secret. Your body keeps the score, too. Tense shoulders, shallow breaths, restless nights. Joy feels unfamiliar. Calm feels suspicious, like it's just the break before another storm. When chaos is your normal, peace does not always feel safe. It feels like you are waiting for the other shoe to drop. Here's the sneakiest part. You might think this is just your personality. Reliable, self-sufficient, low maintenance. But these are not just who you are. They were strategies you learned as a kid to survive. That younger you, the one who learned to be small and quiet? Still inside, still waiting for permission to just be. That's why compliments bounce off. That's why you explain yourself over and over. That's why success feels fake. Deep down, you might still believe love is something you have to earn by being useful, by never being a problem. But here's what you needed to hear back then, and what you can tell yourself now. You weren't too much. You weren't the problem. You were a kid who deserved to feel safe. Healing doesn't come from fixing yourself. It starts when you turn toward that younger you and say, I see you. I know what you went through. And I'm sorry you had to handle so much alone. This isn't about quick fixes or empty affirmations. It's about letting yourself feel the anger and sadness you never had room for. Feeling the loss of birthdays spent pretending, the nights you cried quietly so no one would hear. Let yourself feel it. That's how you start to thaw what's been frozen. Shadow work means meeting the parts of yourself you've tried to ignore, the needy part, the angry part, the scared part, the part that wants someone to notice you're struggling without you having to say a word. No one else can do this for you. You have to show up for that kid. Try this. Close your eyes. Picture yourself as a child. What do you look like? Where are you sitting? Ask that version of you. What did you need most back then? Say the answer, even if your voice shakes. Maybe you needed someone to say, "You can rest now." You don't have to be strong all the time. Maybe you just needed a hug. Start giving yourself those things, even if it feels awkward or slow. Stop apologizing for having needs. Stop thinking being vulnerable makes you weak. Stop believing you have to do everything alone. You're not broken. You're just running on old rules meant for a different time. Those rules kept you safe once, but now they keep you from living fully. You don't have to keep performing. You don't have to keep earning your place. You don't have to keep holding everyone else together. You get to rest. You get to be messy. You get to let people help you. Some days will be harder than others. You'll catch yourself slipping back into old habits. That's normal. Healing isn't about getting it perfect. It's about noticing the pattern and choosing something different, even if it's just once in a while. It is about looking at that kid whose feet couldn't have reached the floor and saying, "You can let go now. I'm here. I'll take it from here." You didn't get the childhood you deserved, but you still get to write your future. And this time, you get to decide what safe, loved, and whole look like.